So is Labour's agenda progressive or dangerous? Joining me for a debate on this is political analyst Matt Turner and Conservative councillor Paul Miller, who is here with me in the studio. Councillor Miller, I'll start with you as you're here with me. We've seen the war on terror has been going for 16 years. We're still engaging in wars in the Middle East. We need a change, don't we?
It would be nice if we could draw everything to a conclusion. I noticed that Jeremy Corbyn was postulating that we should debate and use diplomacy prior to any physical military action. The trouble is, with the terrorism agenda going on, there is nobody to negotiate with. And that is the difficulty with the different factions that are involved in the Middle East.
OK, let me throw that over to Matt Turner then, who's on the screen with us here. He's right, isn't he? There's no one to negotiate with. You need to take a hard line, which...
It's not about not taking a hard line, no, it's about taking a sensible line. Like was previously said, terror is now globalised. There's no one particular state which we can invade or we can intervene in, which will solve the problem. So in my opinion, the idea that Corbyn's foreign policy speech is naive is completely wrong. I mean, it's one of the best foreign policy speeches that I've seen from any British political leader in the past few decades.
How was it good, Matt? What did you like about it specifically?
Well, I think it's really easy to see how and why Jeremy Corbyn has been on the right side of history for the last 30 years, especially the little bit about not holding hands with Donald Trump. I think that's really, really important. I think that would be good for Britain. I think it would be good for the world as well. I think that it's been Britain's subservience to foreign policy dictated by the United States, which has made the world a more dangerous and a more precarious place. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of leadership to stand up to the leader of a free world and say, you are in the wrong here. That's something that Theresa May isn't going to do.
OK, let me put that to Councillor Paul Miller. Corbyn has been on the right side of history over Iraq, Libya and Afghanistan, hasn't he?
Well,
Corbyn on NATO, where do you stand with that? Matt Turner.
Oh, sorry. I think it's a really, really interesting dynamic. I mean, obviously NATO was formed for a specific reason. I think that its purpose now has kind of drifted a lot far from like what it was created, what it was intending to do. I think also it's a really interesting dynamic here, especially with Conservative Leave voters, UKIP Leave voters. These people voted to take back control from an unaccountable group of people who make policy decisions which impact the British people. Now, the exact same here can be said for Corbyn's foreign policy towards the United States. He's merely making us a more independent country.
But particularly now,
control.
Matt Turner, we need America, don't we? If particularly in an era of, you know, Brexit, where we're breaking away from other powers, Trump or no Trump, we need a special relationship with the US.
Well, of course, you know, in a globalised world, we need good relations with a lot of the major players. But what I would say is this kind of special relationship, as it's defined at the moment, has been the triumvirate of complete idiots in Blair, Cameron and now Theresa May, just following the US at a whim and doing whatever they do. I think that kind of blind subservience is incredibly damaging to this country and the world.
Matt Turner, how does Corbyn and by extension the Labour Party suggest that we reshape our relationship with the US?
I think it involves a more independent stance. Like I said before, I think it involves standing up to America when they are engaging in acts which are either illegal under international law or otherwise pretty damaging to the region of the Middle East in particular. I mean, I've heard this stuff about World War II, and that's completely true. I wouldn't dispute that at all. But if you look at the recent history after World War II, then history will tell you that the vast majority of American interventions have either exacerbated the problem or not done what it was intended to do, which goes back to my kind of first point, where anybody who's criticising Jeremy Corbyn's speech today is either A, a complete ideologue, or B, those who, you know, their kind of memory has started to stagnate. Because
a final point from you, Matt Turner, just a final point that you'd like to make.
What I would say is that Corbyn's more altruistic approach, it provides a brilliant opportunity here. It provides the world with the leader that they need right now, somebody who believes in peace over hegemony, which I can guarantee is something that America and NATO do not believe in. Now, what I would say is his commitment to intervening militarily, whether it be for humanitarian reasons or as a last resort, show that he is not the pacifist that some in the mainstream media like to claim. He's merely standing up against injustice like he has done for the past 30 years in Parliament.